What's up, guys? We're back here again with our Soul Silver Nuzlocke. We're going to be checking our box for a couple of Pokemon that we can bring into this Kimono Girl fight with the 5 different evolutions. I'm actually really excited to beat them and move on to the Elite Four. This project has been very long. It takes a while to edit and record, so I'm excited to move past this. Okay, going into this first fight should be pretty easy. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't realize that it would lead Umbreon. With the documentation I was looking at, I believe led something else. I want to say it was like Vaporeon uh, or Flareon, I believe. And so getting led Umbreon, I was like, okay, whatever, not that big of a deal. Should be fine for Gyarados. Gyarados is doing no damage. Wasn't expecting that, but it's fine. We'll just switch out and go into our fighting type and bug type, and we should be able to one-shot here, I believe. We should double resist this. I honestly should have did it sooner, probably saved some HP for Gyarados, but shouldn't matter. Okay, that's fight number 1 down. Big benefit of this being back-to-backs is I don't suffer status condition drops, so could be worse. Now, the main issue here is, because it's back-to-backs, I keep having to lead Gyarados, meaning I have to switch out every time. Okay, so we'll be switching into our starter here. Not a big issue. We can go for him, and then go for Bite, I believe. And Psychic, of course, does a million damage and gets the drop. I know I'm no longer confident in the outspeed. I believe I checked the speed, and I got outsped, so then I only had one option to outspeed, I believe. And not a great situation to be in. I could either roost here and chance the crit, likely still getting one shot, and I'm switching here. I should have probably went for a different move on Gyarados as opposed to trying to switch chain, because at this point I'm just kind of committing to the death of my Fearow here. Unfortunately, just kind of has to happen. I realize that the switching chain is just gonna screw me up. So now we can go back into our Pokemon, and I'm checking speed to actually see if something can outspeed it and kill it. Now here we settle on our starter again. Now, honestly, I could have left him in earlier, but he likely would have died, so switching him out probably was the move. And he gets outsped and dies anyways. I don't know what I was thinking there. I don't know if I was checking speed or if I was hoping for a miss or something, which I think Psychic's 100%, so I honestly don't know what the move was there. Bad decision making. I'm in full panic at this point, and I still have the 3 other EVs after this to contend with. Gyarados comes out. Unfortunately, he doesn't have Bite like I thought he did for some reason. So we're gonna go ahead and eat a Psychic, hit it with a Surf, and hope that it kills. God, this thing is so tanky. I'm crying. And Gyarados is at 11. This is a really bad situation to be in, but it should be fine. We'll go into the Flareon and then be able to one-shot it. We're just going to have to pivot out of Gyarados and play correctly. Flareon, totally fine. Have the Gyarados. Gyarados is going to be intimidating, and then I'm able to switch out into something else. In this case, I'm just going to go for Graveler, take the quick attack that I knew was coming. I knew it outsped, so I couldn't hit it with an Aqua Tail or a Surf. So then it's going to tank this Fire Blast pretty well. Just kidding. It's going to do half and burn. Love that. And then we're going to hit it with an Earthquake, and it's going to do 2/3. This is a real problem. It's probably dead to Fire Blast. I just... I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. That was really unlucky, and I didn't want that to happen. But I have to sack here, because otherwise, if I switch out, I'm just doing more of what I did earlier. And I'm having to basically sacrifice all of these different Pokemon. I ended up checking speed and wanting to make sure that this was the correct switch, because then if he outspeeds me, I end up in a really bad situation. So we're just going to go for something basic, just close combat to seal it off. Now, I am in a precarious situation because we have two EVs left. We have the Jolteon, which is fast as hell, and the Vaporeon, which is going to be tanky and hit hard. Both of which are scary. And I don't have a counter to the Jolteon anymore because the Graveler died. Luckily, I still have the Weeping Bell, but still not a great situation because I'm going to have to go into this with lower HP than I'd want. And overall, the only option I really have is to go into our Heracross here and hope that he can tank a Thunderbolt. And he tanks it pretty well, but this means that we're going to have to do close combat here. And this is where it starts getting extra hairy. Oh, but we hit that 100% coming in clutch, and we one-shot it. So now we're going into this Vaporeon fight 3v1. We get an Intimidate off, so it should be doing less physical damage as well. We should be fine, I'm hoping. Very close fight, and it would really suck to wipe here and have to restart everything. So I'm sitting here thinking, okay, yeah, surely we can go into our grass type here. It'll be totally fine. Ice attack. Gyarados is flying. I forgot. It's not even that necessarily I forgot. I just thought it would be disincentivized because the water type resists it. But sure. So we get hit with an Aura Beam. That dies. Now all we have left is our Gyarados and our Heracross, both of which get outsped, I believe. Go for the close combat. That hits. Does roughly half. Even though we did outspeed here, we got crit. Gyarados is left. As long as Gyarados hits here and kills, we're fine, right? I probably am thinking, oh, we're probably dead here. And what do I go for? Now, if you're like me in this moment, you're thinking, oh, surely he goes for Surf. Or for, I don't know, even Ice Fang probably would have been better. But no, I go for the Twister with a low special attack. This hurt bad. So now, guess who gets to go through the whole game again? We reset, chose the same starter, got our encounters. Now, what follows in this video is going to be a sort of boss rush of me just defeating all of the gyms again and making it back to the Kimono Girls. I cannot believe I mess up that bad. Whatever. We're just going to go into Faulkner and just Geodude is going to clear this up no problem. Pretty easy fight in the start. I'm still just so defeated by that loss. It was 100% my fault. I made so many bad decisions. Honestly, that luck that happened at the beginning of the game, I deserved it. Also, is it really a Nuzlocke if you don't reset at least once? I'm coping. I played like an absolute cone of a human being, and I deserve to lose there, but we'll pretend that I didn't deserve it and move on. So, going into our second gym here, we're going to fight Bugsy. Now, I did it again. I forget he leads Scyther. Scyther is just such a weird lead, like I always forget about it. Luckily, I just have this Spearow, my bad. Got used to having a fully evolved Pokemon there. Whoopsies. Use an Aerial Ace. Keep trying to wear it down. Unfortunately, this Scyther does hit like an absolute freight train. Now, I can switch here. It might heal, but probably safer to switch out. Going into Geodude here, the goat. Gonna tank that quick attack that I knew was coming. And we can just go into our Rock Throw again. And this should kill. Unfortunately, he does hit the U-turn on us, which does a good amount of damage. Coming out is the Metapod into our Rock Throw. This is totally fine. Does a good amount of damage. We'll just switch out to our either Fire type or to our other Flying type. Gym's not too bad, especially because Scyther's so low right now. The Quilava can actually do good damage here. just basically spam Ember on the next two Pokemon. If the Scyther comes back out, so be it. If the other Pokemon comes out instead, also totally fine. We get the Scyther here, we hit it with an Ember, it's dead. And that's pretty much the end of Bugsy. Scyther is the only real threat. Now we're going to jump to a fight that was unfortunate. The rival fight. The one that I was clowning on last playthrough. I had my Bellsprout out, and I believe it Ice Fanged it, or crunched it, or it hit it with something and crit it, I believe. I just was not expecting it to kill. I thought I was switching into a water type move, and it still killed it. So, I figured I'd at least record the fight and let you see that I did end up defeating him. I'll try and throw in the encounters where I do lose someone. That way it keeps things more interesting for both you and I, and we can actually stay on top of who we've lost and who we still have. Now, once again making bad decisions, I lost the Geodude in the same way, thinking it was going to be a different attack. I want to cry. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Totally didn't lose two Pokemon to this dumbass rival for no reason. Sometimes you just get careless. Especially this early into the game. I could have reset, but I was 2 gyms in, and I was just like, Weeping Bell doesn't really do that much, and the Graveler can't evolve past the Graveler, so not that big of a deal. It's just really unfortunate, more so than anything. We'll end up killing the rival here, if only. We're going to defeat his Pokemon and move on to our third gym. So moving on to Whitney, our basic idea is just going to be to try and poison stall her. You tend to struggle with Whitney if she gets going, and she can just really steamroll and snowball through your team if you're not careful. So we'll start off with our Skiploom here and just go into our poison setup. So first move here is just going to be Stun Spore. Even though the idea is to poison powder, the Miltank will just Stun Spore the first Pokemon and try to set up on it. Now this would require us to just Bullet Seed, get through it. Nothing too big, we can skip past this for the most part. I surprisingly had to cut out a lot of stall there. It was using potions, just stalling me. And so we finally kill it, and we'll have us go into the Miltank here. Now, the Miltank actually has a berry to heal from the poison powder. And also, the poison powder is only 75% chance to hit. We missed. Then we get attracted this turn, and surely we'll hit it through the attract. Nope. And so now we get stomped. We're on 3 HP and attracted. This is our last chance to hit it. We do, and then it just shakes it off because of the berry. So now, spent all of that just to get rid of its berry. Luckily, I did bring multiple ways to poison it. So now we're just going to go into our Nidoqueen and hope that it can poison it. Now, we can either go for Poison Sting here, or we can go for Poison Point, which is its ability, and just try to tank it. So we try to just decide to tank it. We use Growl to lower its attack so that we can have more chances of killing it. So now we're going to try to PP stall it a bit, burn through some of its moves, and I don't think it's going to really do much, but it doesn't hurt. And we managed to get the Poison Point. Oh my gosh. So now we can just keep spamming Protect, and we can keep spamming Growl until the Nidoqueen gets low. And as long as it doesn't crit, we're good. So now we're in a great spot. We can just keep spamming Protect. I did teach Protect to most of my Pokemon, as you can buy in the department store, actually. So, currently we're just eating as many attacks as we can and moving on. Now, I won't make you sit through this whole thing, and I'll fast forward, but it does eventually work. Moving into our next gym, as you'll notice, we're not actually fighting a gym leader. We're fighting one of his disciples, trainers in the gym, whatever you want to call it.
Now, I wasn't thinking. If you're noticing a trend, yeah, pretty much. We go in with the Arbok, crunch it, should be fine, should be fine. And we get the first one. Second one comes out. Do the same thing. Surely that'll be alright. Oh, confused Ray. Okay, that's an issue. Don't want it to get too low. I'd rather not risk my Pokemon. Let me switch out. It'll be fine. So we're just gonna go into our Zubat here, or Golbat rather, and yeah, it should be fine. It can handle this. And there's the curse. Okay, that's scary. Should be fine though. We can bite it. And instead, we choose to switch out once more. Let's go Eradicate. It can't be hit by Ghost-type moves. Even though Curse will still hit it, it's fine. Okay, Confuse Ray, sure. We'll just switch out again. Not a big issue. So if you notice, we're just switching and switching and switching to avoid these status moves. Until eventually throw in the Nidoqueen. And surely this will be fine until it gets mean-looked. Now, if you noticed, I put in a random fight for a reason. That's because we're about to lose a Pokemon. Mean Look into Confuse Ray. We're on full health. It's at half health. Can't hit. That's one miss. We get Nightshaded. 2 misses. Oh wow, we snapped out, but guess what? It does nothing because it's a poison type. I had no way of killing this other Pokemon. I just didn't. The only thing that it could possibly do is if it maybe cursed and killed itself. So we lost Nidoran, and yeah, that was really unfortunate. We easily kill this now, and we'll move on to Morty, the gym leader. This is actually one of the easier gym battles in the game. Morty, pretty much you bring any normal or dark type that knows Bite, and you can just pretty much chew through his whole team. Eradicate here knows Crunch, and yeah, this is going to one-tap or two-shot everything on his team. I'm going to show you the first two just so you get the idea, and we'll skip through the rest. Moving on to Chuck, we're actually going to have a pretty straightforward team. We're going to have the 2 flying types and then the rest of the stuff to stall if need be. Pretty easy team to use. So going in here, Chuck is going to lead Primate, and we're just going to lead our Golbat and just hit it with flying moves. The other option is to use Confuse Ray, but I think using the flying type attacks is probably just better use, especially because as double team, we don't want it to end up snowballing us if we end up getting unlucky with rolls or with it missing a lot. Just sweep through the first Pokemon, and funny enough, I don't know if you guys remember the last time, but we were way under leveled because I forgot to level everything. And honestly, I should have just claused it and restarted the fight with on-level stuff, but it ended up working out, so it didn't really matter. In this case, we're just going to go for the Poliwrath, Confuse Ray. Unfortunately, it does get the paralysis with the body slam, but we're still in a pretty good position with it being confused. Wing attack can just get spammed here. Don't you just love getting unlucky? We're going to go ahead and switch out to the Jump Up here. Pretty straightforward switch as it's a flying grass. We can resist it and then hopefully use some status conditions on it. The rest of this fight's pretty much in the bag. I guess I'll just use this time to talk a bit about how I'm enjoying the game on the second playthrough. It's pretty good. I enjoy getting to use all the different Pokemon. I will say this game does lend itself to using like a wide variety of Pokemon that I've never really used. Maybe that's just because I'm not too familiar with like the Heart Gold, Soul Silver games, but I don't know, it's quite enjoyable. Moving on to Jasmine, this gym fight's actually pretty easy simply because we have our fire starter. We can pretty much just sweep through using fire attacks, and that's the end of it. If you'll notice, like a lot of these gym leaders in the middle, like the back-to-back of Morty, Chuck, and then Jasmine, it's just a bunch of just knowing your type matchup and you win
very easily. As you can see, unfortunately, this one is a 2-shot, but it's not going to be enough to stop me. Also, we gave ourselves the cherry berry. Maybe this is a good time to address how I'm using berries on this playthrough. If the game gives them to me, then we have the pot ability or something like that. I know that you have an ability to get more. I'm just too lazy to like go and plant them to get more. So I just give myself an unlimited supply of them once I get access to one of them. So unless like it's super busted, I won't really do it. But I think having access to cherry berries is like pretty fair for a Nuzlocke, and especially because I like having items that actually do something. It just gives more substance to the game. And so with that, we're going to go ahead and finish off the rest of Jasmine's team and move on to our next gym leader. So moving on to price, we're going to have our Ampharos pretty much deal with most of the issues with the water types, and honestly, once again, simply knowing your type matchups, you bring the correct thing, you win. There's no real heavy strategy needed. I will say the earlier gyms in this game seem to be a lot more fun because they require a bit more strategy, a bit more thinking, and they're a bit closer fights, so you have to steer a bit more. But with uh, these mid-game ones, like what is it, roughly 4 to 7, it's pretty much just type matchups, and you'll pretty much be fine. There's not too much risk until Gym 8. Gym 8 is really rough, and we'll be there in a moment. But genuinely, I don't know if you can get past Gym 8 without losing at least 2 Pokemon. Unless you have something that's like a hard counter to the Kingdra that she has. That Kingdra is disgusting, and there's not too much you can do about it as you're too early in the game to have a Dragon type except for Dragonair, which Dragonair is too squishy, it just gets bullied by it. Speaking of getting bullied, we're going to be back here on the Dugong with our Ampharos, and we're just going to Thunderbolt through it. Actually, for this playthrough, I decided not to hack the TMs in to give myself like Thunderbolt and Flamethrower and moves like that, just simply because I don't know, I wanted to see how these Pokemon stacked up without needing the extra moves, and as you can see there, we probably would have killed there with it. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, at the end of the day, this is an Ampharos that's fighting a Dugong. Like, it's going to try and hit me, and then it's just going to keep healing through, or I'm going to outspeed it. Jumping into our next rival fight, actually, we're going to have our Eradicate out first, leading it, and then we see the Golbat come out. I don't think I was prepared for this fight, actually. When you walk into the hideout, it automatically starts the fight, so I decided to just play through it, and I don't know why here I chose to go for that. I should have just switched out, but it ended up working out because we got the paralysis and the discharge off. Definitely a riskier move for no reason, but sometimes you just don't get punished and you're just better. Going into the next Pokemon, it's the Feraligatr. Should be fine. Should be able to Thunder Wave or Discharge. Unless we get stunned there. And then we get thrashed. What do you know? Double static on these Pokemon. So now we can just discharge it. This should kill. Perfect. That Feraligatr before ended up taking out 2 of our Pokemon. It took out our Coughing and Bellsprout, I believe, which was quite unfortunate. But we're going to end up going into the Eradicate here to counter the Haunter, get trapped. Thankfully, we switched. Glad I didn't make the same mistake as the other Haunter. Just going to crunch it to death. I'm luckily bringing a good, well-rounded team to these hideouts rather than like stuff for the hideout, because I've played through the game before. But this Sneasel is fast as hell and scary. It does actually quite a bit of damage if you're not careful.
So I'm going to go into my fire type to be able to get through this. Oh, and it gets hit by a dark attack. Okay, I survived the first one. Even as a range, it should be fine. And so I will protect here, just to scout it, just to make sure. Okay, it's using feint attack again. I should be able to outspeed it and kill it. What? It did more damage. Why did it? Stupid mistake. Should have switched out. I saw the range. I hadn't even considered it critting because I was like, it'll probably be fine. I should outspeed it and kill it. And even if I don't, because it's a Sneasel and it's fast, it shouldn't kill unless it crits. I chanced the crit, and it still killed me to a range, I guess? It might have been a max range? I have no clue. I lost my starter to such a stupid thing. Very disappointing. Luckily, I don't think I really need it anymore. None of the starters tend to be too good on the Elite Four from what I've seen. But I'm not 100% sure on that. Obviously, I haven't made it that far yet. But I guess we'll find out. And so the Magnemite comes out. If only I had my fire type. If you notice, everything else is weak to it, so I only have this and my Ampharos to handle it. We're going to outspeed it, and hopefully this dig will kill it for the 4 times effectiveness. Whenever I'm fighting a Magnemite and I have to use dig, I'm always terrified because I'm like, what if this thing has Levitate? This rival is coming back with a vengeance. He is punishing me so hard for giving him crap the first playthrough. So going into Claire here, we're actually going to be leading off with our own Ampharos once again, so we can one-shot the Gyarados. Pretty straightforward. We want to try to get to the Kingdra with as little problems as possible. Dragon Rage, whatever. Not going to do too much. We can hit the Discharge. Getting the one-shot on the Gyarados is good, and then we're going to have the Dragonair come out, which actually does know Thunder Wave, which is a little scary. Only simply for the fact that if I try to switch out here, it's going to Thunder something, and that's not a good situation to be in. So we can simply protect to see what it's going to go for. Then we get the decision of going Thunder Wave or trying to go for some damage. Now, the Thunder Wave is probably the better move because then we can slow it down and we can get the free switch if we're lucky. And ideally, here we go something like the Gyarados to try and hit it with a Ice Fang. Hopefully, the Ice Fang will be enough to damage it quickly so the Gyarados will be alive come the Kingdra. Really, these first 3 Pokemon are not a big deal. Especially because we can just put Cherry Berries on our Pokemon to avoid things like this. And we can then Ice Fang to get through the rest of it. So it is a 2-shot here. And it does get the Thunder Wave, meaning now all of a sudden we're on a clock. Because if these Dragon Pulses get through and we don't get enough Ice Fangs out, we're going to be in a big trouble with our Gyarados. Still could be in trouble, but we got the first Dragonair out of the way. Second Dragonair comes out, and we're going to try the same thing. That's 1 Dragon Pulse. We're now 3 hits away, or potentially 2 or 1 in a crit. But we actually get the crit this time. Thank goodness we need the luck for this Kingdra. I don't know if you guys remember, but last playthrough did end up losing quite a few Pokemon to it. And so now we're just going to try and poison it out. That is the current strategy. Hopefully we can play through using Toxic Spikes and through Poison Sting and through Poison Jab. I actually made a mistake. I planned on switching out the Gyarados right before we killed the Dragonair so that we could go with the Tentacruel and Toxic Spikes. But now the whole plan has gotten messed up because we crit there, which was really unfortunate because we needed to not crit so we could poison the Kingdra easy. but that didn't work out the way we wanted. So now we have to kill it straight up. And that's a scary idea. The new plan actually becomes, can we taunt and fake out / protect stall it using our Persian? Now this is what we did the last time, and it worked out really well. It just required a lot of sacking because you can just switch in, fake out, switch out, let something die, switch back in, fake out, protect, and keep doing that until it's out of Hydro Pumps, and then you basically have a set of moves. You just have to tank the Dragon Pulses. Now I'm going to make some bad decisions in hindsight here. In hindsight, I should have just kept the coughing out and sacked it, but for some reason I saw the chance for a random move and went into the Tentacruel because it would eat the Hydro Pump, and then I can go for Poison Jabs to try and get it poison. Now, I should have just sacked it, and then we could have went into this anyways. But I don't really see how this would have worked any other way. We do get a crit there. It triggers the Citrus, which is interesting. It does put it in a low position, but now we're low. We are outspeeding it, so do we sack here, or do we just give... We could switch to the coughing here and just give that up, or we could sack the Tentacruel going for more damage. Either way, kind of a rough situation. So now that it's low, we can actually go for the Persian stall tactic of just fake out and keep hoping to get kills on it. Now, something I did notice this time, I don't know if I had a Silk Scarf or if I had a different move that boosted normal type attacks or something like that last playthrough. I swore I had something like that, but maybe I didn't. And so we're just going to go Persian this time. We're going to go for the switch here so that we can execute on the fake out plan. Nidoran here, it would be cool if it could get hit by a move that could trigger Poison Point. I believe it has Poison Point, but even if it does, still not a great situation to be in. It still has another Hyper Potion plus a full restore, I believe. I may be wrong about the exact number, but I know it still has heals. That Hydro Pump does do most of it, and we decide to go ahead and sack the Pokemon. It will survive that one. Pretty much Claire's battle at this point is just how many hits can she dish out while I can tank them. At this point, it's just putting out bodies while she just puts out attacks. We're actually just going to go into our Persian once more. It's still at full health, and we're going to hit the fake out. Does good damage. And we are debating to do a slash here simply because we can get it low, and it goes for the smoke screen, which is great. But now we know the full restore is coming, we can then slash again. The whole idea of poisoning this in the first place probably wasn't the best, but at least it would have gotten it low enough for something to kill it. Who knows? I keep trying to execute some plan on this Kingdra, and then it results in me just going for Persian stall while sacking the rest of my Pokemon. Switching out here is actually kind of funny because anytime it sees Persian, it's trying to lower its accuracy. And so now we know this outspeeds, and so we can go for a Poison Jab if we're sacking. Maybe we get the poison, maybe we don't, but either way, it still does a good amount of damage. Oh, never mind. The one smoke screen made me miss. That feels amazing. I'm so happy with this game. God, I love Pokemon. Sometimes I feel like the luckiest player, other times I feel like the unluckiest. I guess that's just Pokemon in general, but it's rough, man. We're going to go full health. We're going to spam Protect here. It might go for Smoke Screen again, and that's a Hyper Beam. And I actually made a mistake here because I thought if it hits with Hyper Beam, the next turn it'll be tired if you protect it, but it doesn't. So I ended up tanking that, and I go for a slash here because I know it's going to be asleep. And thank goodness we hit the crit there. The crit is really what won us this game. We would have had to sack possibly our Ampharos, if not our Gyarados, to win this. Now we can go into our final fight for this video, or the final 5, I guess I should say. So our plan this time, for the 5 evolutions is to lead our Parasect, and we go for a bunch of status stuff, and hopefully we try and lead something that we're okay with losing. If I lose this Pokemon, we're chilling. I actually gave it a Person Berry, same situation as before, so we could get out of it. And we Stun Spore it, only to realize that it has Synchronize, which, dumb oversight by me, but we're fine. Oh, we're paralyzed and we have Confusion. Yeah, this is not great. So we have to switch out here. We don't want to lose too much on our first Pokemon anyways, especially considering we still have to fight a Water and a Psychic type, which this Pokemon would be good against. So we are going to go for our Hot Chalky, aka Fortress. Hopefully this thing can put in work. We're going to get the Bug Bite off, and that's not doing too much damage. We're just going to have to keep fighting through the confusion, or we're going to have to keep switching out. Those are kind of our two options. We're going to go for the Bug Bites with the Person Berry again. And it's dead next turn as long as it doesn't confuse, which it doesn't, and we tank that. Okay, cool. Umbreon down. Our first Pokemon's paralyzed, but otherwise, health-wise, we made it out good. We're still looking good. Second Pokemon's going to come out. It's going to be the Espeon, if I'm not mistaken. And hey, we have the paralysis, but if we hit the Stun Spore here, we're looking great. Psychic still does too much damage. That move is so stupid. And we do hit through paralysis and get the Stun Spore. I just decide to sack here. And it still lives. Oh my god. Definitely should not have lived there. I think it's because that random move was a range. And when it rolls a random move, it uses a random roll, I believe. So the roll it used to decide if that move would kill was higher than the roll it actually rolled, meaning we lived. Which is so funny that we lived off that. So we get to keep our first Pokemon as a sack if we decide to switch out here. I'm actually checking moves to make sure that we have something on our Eradicate, which we can then switch in and just use Crunch. We're going to eat the Swift, normal type move, not that big of a deal. And then we get to just go for Crunch. Hopefully we outspeed here. The paralysis setup is paying off in dividends here. Getting that save allows for the Eradicate to have more health going into the next fight. If it hit us with a Psychic, there's a chance it died there. And so I'm just happy that we made it through the Espeon. The Espeon is the hard part, and then so is the Vaporeon, I believe. The next two, not that big of a deal. We can easily just switch off of the Parasect or sack it here, and we can go into something else. We do end up going for the Lantern, though, which this Pokemon was specifically brought because it counters so many different things. It also has Volt Switch, which makes it great for later on in healing. We do hit the crit on the Surf, which is great. It allows us to save a bunch of health. We're getting really lucky in this fight, which, to be fair, after last time, I played so badly, and I came this time fully prepared. Last time, I just kind of walked in and said, we'll figure it out. This time, I came in with a plan, and planned sacks and planned strategies with berries and everything fully ready to just push through if need be. So here we're going to switch in our Lantern so that we can potentially bait the either Quick Attack or the Thunderbolt, and if it's the Thunderbolt, we get to heal. So perfect, we get the Thunderbolt, we then can Confuse Ray. It is going to go for Double Team, unfortunately. But we do hit the Confuse Ray, meaning we're in a really good spot here up against it. Because now we can just go for something else, and if it tries to, once again, go for Thunderbolt, we can actually just switch in our Lantern once again to eat it, keeping it at full health. And then we have a Water type who also has Electric type going into the Vaporeon at the end. Pretty great. So we're going to have our Fortress come in. He's Steel type. Not too much damage is going to be coming out of him, but we can actually just use him to pivot or to stall. We then can just go back into the Lantern and try and eat the Electric type move and set up the Confuse Ray once more. This pivoting chain is like totally fine. We're not going to be taking too much damage. And it's looking like we're going to have 5 Pokemon going into the final battle, with 2 of which being electric types. Pretty good. This is unfortunately where that early death of the Graveler is kind of coming back to bite me, because he's a good ground type, and I didn't have that here to handle the Jolteon, so now I'm just stuck using electric types that resist its stuff, and we're just forced to chip it down. Luckily, it's hurting itself in confusion, so that is speeding it up, but we can set up a light screen just in case, and it's just still going to use other moves. Luckily, we brought the berries to try and mitigate the paralysis here. That was part of the plan. But now we're going to end up taking more damage than we need to. And we miss, trying to lower its defense. So now we're paralyzed and taking a lot of damage. We're down another Pokemon. Okay, so we have 4 solid Pokemon we can bring. Luckily, we do lower its defense there. We can just go into something, maybe the Eradicate, and hit it with a Dig, and hopefully that's enough. We also do have the light screen up, so who knows. Going into the Whimsicott there, though, is definitely a mistake. If we do that, it's a flying type. If it gets hit by a Thunderbolt, it's probably dead. Not exactly known to be the tankiest Pokemon. So we're on to our final fight, and this Vaporeon shouldn't be too big of an issue. We should just be able to switch into our Lantern and pretty much just discharge it. It does have Aurora Beam, but it's on random move, so it could just throw a water attack at our electric types. That would be ideal, but even if it does, shouldn't be stressing about it too much. I don't know why I went into that in hindsight. Maybe scouting? I lost that fortress for no reason. That was really dumb of me. Maybe it was just to tank that attack so I could get in the Lantern for free, because we were worried about taking too much damage off of a Surf. Still, the Discharge and the Spark should be doing more than enough. Don't know why I made that decision and just chose to lose Fortress there. It's funny watching these things in hindsight, because you don't really get to see them until afterwards, until you see that you made the bad decision. Overall, though, still did pretty good, and I'm happy that we managed to make it past the Kimono Girls, so next time we'll be in the Elite Four.